Hello everyone, welcome back to another session of construction management. Students, in construction management, we have started discussing about construction planning. So in the previous session, which was the first session of the construction planning, we have started discussing about what is construction planning, what were the types of project plan, and then we have discussed one of the important concept, that was work breakdown structure, or we can say that WBS. So students, in the what was construction planning? So the construction planning was a drawing up a method for doing something that well in advance. So when you try to construct something, you have to draw a method of doing that thing in advance. So that is your construction planning. And to learn the construction planning, first we need to know that what activities we are going to perform. That is so obvious that if you are learning the construction planning, you should be knowing that what things you are going to manage or what things you are going to plan. So that is why we have learned the first topic of the sub chapter, that was work breakdown structure. Now what was work breakdown structure? So work breakdown structure was to divide a project into manageable parts or activities. That was a technique. Work breakdown structure is a technique to divide the project into manageable parts. And then we have seen the work breakdown structure levels. There were 5 levels: sub project level, work package level, task level, activity level, operational level. So we have seen all of those levels, and then we have seen an example for the residential building. Students, we have also discussed that in the work breakdown structure, that it is not necessary to always divide the main project into sub project, then to work package, then to task, then to activity, and then operational. It is not compulsory to divide, to follow the hierarchy. You can directly divide the project into task and then activity, or you can divide it into work package and then direct to activity. It is completely depending on you. Also, we have discussed this thing that even if myself or any other student tries to make a work breakdown structure for the same project, the drawing will be the different, because it depends on the how detailing you are doing. So work breakdown can differ from one person to another person. And one of the basic reason behind drawing up this, behind making this work breakdown structure, was to learn about how much activities are there. As a construction manager, you need to know that how much activity you are performing, what is your scope of work. For an example, if we talk about the residential building, we know that in a residential building what works are there, like the excavation, the site clearance, the boundary line, the fabrication of the periphery, then the substructure, superstructure, finishing, plumbing, electric. So there are lots of activity happening in a project. So by making work breakdown structure, we are aware that this much of activities are going to be performed in a project. So what is that? Like, we can learn that by the experience. So why work breakdown structure? So if you're able to identify those which are the activities you are going to perform, you can manage your resources. And the resources are 4M: man, money, material, and machinery. By identifying those activities in a planning stage, you can manage your resources, as well as you can complete the project within the time and cost. So that is why we need to learn the work breakdown structure first. So now today in this session, we are going to see project management techniques. Yes, we are going to learn project management techniques. Students, now we can start with the project management techniques. So the project management techniques are divided into 2 types. Let us see. So as just told you that project management techniques are divided into 2 types. The basic 2 types are conventional methods and the network methods, or the network analysis. Now in the conventional method, there are sub-methods such as Gantt bar chart, milestone chart, then there is line of balance technique. In the network analysis, there is this method, critical path method, critical path method, CPM. Then there is program evaluation and review technique, that is PERT, PERT, we pronounce it as PERT. and the other one is CPM, critical path method. So these methods are known as the heart of construction management. So we are just entering into the learnings of the heart of construction management. So today we are going to start with the conventional methods of project management, and that is the first method is bar chart, or we can say Gantt chart. Let us see. So the Gantt chart is been developed by Henry Gantt back in 1900 AD. So it is named after Henry Gantt chart, or it is also known as Gantt bar chart. It is a simple method which can display the time schedule of the project activities, as well as can compare the activities against of their schedule and the actual performance. It is very simple method. Students, this term bar chart you might have learned or might have heard in the mathematics. Then when on the basis of certain data you are preparing the bar chart. The bar is the horizontal or the vertical rectangular shape bar, or horizontal or vertical strip, which we call it as bar. So that is same bar chart, but we are making it for construction activities. So basically bar chart is a simple pictorial representation of project activities in two coordinate axes. Yes, two coordinate axes. There are two axes, x axis and y axis. So the bar chart is simple pictorial representation of the project activities. Moving forward, so in this method, the project is divided into number of tasks, jobs or activities which are being represented on one axis by the horizontal strips, which we call it as bars. And on the other axis, we display the time duration for that activity in days, months, weeks, year, whatever it is. So there is one axis who's carrying the activities, and the one axis who is carrying the time duration. The beginning point of any bar represent the start time of an activity, and the end point of any bar represent the end date or the end time of an activity, and the length of that horizontal bar represent the total time taken by the activity. It is point of common sense. So generally what happens, that x-axis carries the time. That is why we can make an horizontal bar, otherwise it would be a vertical bar. So the x-axis will always carry a horizontal, x-axis will always carry the time duration, while the y-axis always carry the activity names. So I hope we are very clear about this bar chart. It is one of the simplest method of the conventional project management techniques. So now let us look at an example. So let's take a project for finalization of the contractor of design and construction of a school. Now we have to draw the bar chart for it, and then we have to put our comments and conclusion for it. So here we are going, so there is a given data in this table. As you can see, there is a table. So we are given the data for the selection of the contractor, or for the finalization of the contractor. So there are activities PQRS and TUV. So the activity P is site selection and the survey, and the time duration for that is 4 weeks. All the durations are in weeks. So the site selection and the survey is 4 weeks. Then there is architectural and structural design, that is of 5 weeks. Then there is preparation of the drawings, that is of 4 weeks. Then preparation of specifications and tender documents, that is of 2 weeks. Then there is a notice inviting tender of 2 weeks. Then there is selection of the contractor of 1 week, and the last activity is awarding the contract of 1 week. So there are these activities for which we have to prepare the bar chart. Now again I am repeating that bar chart is nothing but a pictorial representation of two axes, on which one axis represent the time and one axis represent the activities. So let us see what is the solution in terms of bar chart. So as you can see here, this is the bar chart for the given data to us. Now let us look at the first activity, which is P. Now P activity is the first activity, so it will be starting from the 0 point. So now you will be thinking, so now why not first day? Why 0th day? So I would like to relate to it with the cricket concept, that whenever the first over is being bowled, it is still 0.1, 0.2. So at the end of the first over, it is written 1. So similarly, when the project begins, that day is considered the 0th day of the project, and the day ends, it becomes the first day of the project. So the similar way, so it will be start from 0th point up to the 4th week. Now the second activity, which was the architectural and structural design, as you can see, it is starting from the 3rd week, and its duration is 5 weeks. So we can have the logic that site survey, so no architectural firm or the structural firm waits till the entire survey completes. When the survey is ongoing, so certain part of the survey is being completed, then the architectural and the structural firms started their designs. So that is that there are two activities which are being parallel but not exact with the parallel after some time. So then there is an activity of preparation of drawings. So one, architectural designs and the structural designs are finalized for a certain portion, the draftsman start drafting the drawings. So that is also shown parallel to it. Then there is a preparation of specification and the tender documents. So while the drawings are being prepared, you can calculate the tentative quantities from that drawing. You can prepare the specifications of the building, different building item of works. So this is also parallel activity. Now once you completing the tender documents, then and only then you can have the notice inviting tender. Then once it is completed, once you give the notice inviting tenders, the contractors fill it and give it to you back. Then and only then you can select the contractor, and once the contractor is being selected, then you award the contract. So the last three activity, T, U and V. T, U and V are the sequential activity. Focus on the graph, students. T, U and V are the sequential activity where the contractor, where the activities are performed one after another. In the PQRS, the activities are parallel after some times. That the certain portion is P is completed, then Q can be started. Then certain portion of Q is completed, then R can be started. So that are the parallel activities, but T, U and V are the sequential activities, one after another. So that is how we have prepared our Gantt bar chart. Now let us see the comments and conclusion for this bar chart. So as you can see, here are the comments of the bar chart. As you can see, what we have discussed, that P is slightly parallel to Q, Q is parallel to R, and R is parallel to S, and then T, U, V are the sequential activity which can be performed one after another. So that were my comments on the Gantt bar chart, and the conclusion of this bar chart is that the total duration of the project is 15 weeks. Yes, correct students, the total duration of the project is 15 weeks. So this is how you can prepare the bar chart. Let me tell you one of the interesting fact, that even if bar chart is so simple to prepare, but it is not being currently used in large projects or in mega projects. It is generally used for the small projects. Also, you might be thinking that, sir, these are the softwares available in the market, so why we are studying the manual methods of this construction management? Let's learn the software first. So I would like to tell you, students, softwares are generally softwares. What are the softwares? There is a human made. So they actually runs on the algorithms. So without learning the fundamentals and the basics of any method, you can't learn the software first. There are these softwares like Microsoft Project and Primavera, and other softwares are being coming into the industry. But if you don't know about the logic and the fundamentals of construction management or the construction planning, you can't learn just software like this. So you need to learn the basics first. This is why we have started learning the conventional method, then we are going to network method. Then in the later on this sessions of the construction planning, I will tell you that what kind of algorithms are being developed by these softwares and how they run. So because ultimately software works on data. You input the data and they'll output you something. So we need to learn that what kind of data these softwares are required, and for that we need to strengthen our fundamentals first. So we were discussing about why this, if this is a very simplest method of the project management, why it is not being used in routine processes, because it has certain limitations. So what are the limitations of the bar chart? That is our next topic. Let us see. So here are the the limitations or the lackings of the bar chart, because this limitations, the bar chart is not popularly used. And the first limitation is interdependencies of activities. To understand this interdependency funda, let's come back to our example, our bar chart, which we have just seen in the example. So here, as you can see in our example, by looking at this bar chart, students, can you tell me that what is the relation between P and S, or Q and R, or even P and Q? You cannot define the, even when we were drawing this bar chart, we were making this bar chart, we have assumed, we have considered the logic that these activities can run parallel. There was no data given that Q should be started after 3 weeks, after the 3 weeks of P, or R should be started after the 2 weeks of Q. No such data was given. This was our logic from which we have learned, we have considered that it is obvious that no one is going to wait for the entire survey to complete, so they can start after the 70 to or 80% survey is completed. So that is why we have made them parallel. But we also, if we remove those assumption aside, you still cannot tell that what is the relation between P and Q, that the resources of P are going to be used in Q or not, or the P and Q are the parallel activities, sequential activities or not. So there is an lack of interdependencies between activities, that one activity is how it is related with second activity. There is no information can be drawn from this bar chart. So that is one of the basic and the first major limitation of the bar chart. The second limitation is measuring the project progress. Now to understand this, let's again come back to our example. Now here, students, as you can see, can you just tell me that these are the bars and the project duration is 15 weeks. Now if I'm on the 10th day, if I'm on the 10th week, pardon me, this is in week. So if we are in the 10th week, now I'm measuring, I got to know that P is completed fully. So I'm just highlighting this bar P as a project. Project progress, I'm highlighting with the another color. Let's consider blue color. So I'm highlighting this bar with the blue color. So that is entirely completed. Now when I checked about activity Q, I got to know that it is complete, it is late by 1 week. So I've highlighted according to that. Now just can you tell me that how much percentage of project is completed by looking at this data? It is next to impossible. You cannot have the ratio method that if a project is of 15 weeks and 6 activities are being completed of in the 100%, then 100% project is completed. So for how much is this? Because the project durations are different for different activities. Also, when the project gets delayed, or any activity completes early before its time, you cannot measure the project progress. You can measure the activities accurately. You can have the measurement of this activity is completed 50% or not, but you cannot measure the project progress in bar chart. So that is one of the major limitations again. Now the third limitation is quantities of item of works. Students, in the bar chart, as we have seen in the example, you cannot show the quantities of item of works for the bar chart. You can only represent the activity and its duration. So you are not aware about the quantum of work you are performing. For that, you have to prepare a separate data or the separate quantity sheet. I hope you are getting my point, that quantities we have to keep eye on the quantities as well. But the bar chart, we cannot represent. So we need to, that we need to have a separate data for, again, so we have to manage two data, one the bar chart and the other the quantity. So that is one of the challenge of using bar chart. The next next lacking or the next limitation of the bar chart is critical activities. To understand this, let's again come back to the example. I know that we are going here and there, but by example I can explain you very well. So let's coming back to the example of that bar chart. So students, can you tell me that which activity is critical? Now I've told you in the previous session, critical activities are those are serious activities. We have to perform it very carefully and within time and cost so that other activities cannot suffer. So these are the critical activities. So can you tell me which one is critical? So identification of critical activity is very difficult among the bar chart. Also, without any experience, you cannot tell that this activity is very critical in bar chart. Also, the representation of critical activities. How to represent that this is critical? We have to perform it very carefully. There is no way to represent the critical activities as well. So this is our fourth limitation of bar chart. Coming back to the list of limitations, the next limitation is time uncertainties. Students, when we talk about the construction management, we generally think about the building construction or the construction of a residential or commercial building. But in construction, projects are vary. There are research and development projects, there are this dam projects, there are this bridge projects, there are this long highway projects. So there are the projects which includes the time uncertainty. There are the time uncertainties in getting the drawings or getting the approvals. So you cannot define everything on the bar chart. Also, there are these projects of space construction, space regarding projects. So there are projects which includes the time uncertainty. So when a project includes the time uncertainty, you cannot that represent in bar chart, because very minor rescheduling of that activity, you have to reschedule the entire bar chart, because for an activity A gets delayed by 10 weeks. Now all the activities which are related to A should be changed. Now if the project is a 500 activity, your burden, it is a tedious work, tiring work, and it may happen you end up making a mistake in preparing the bar chart. So when the project includes the time uncertainty, bar chart is not the feasible option. The last limitation is lack of degree of details. Yes, students, when you are preparing the bar chart for G plus, for an example, we are taking about G plus 14 building. So there will be 500 to 1000 activities. Now, as we have already told you, that bar chart is only used for small projects. So now when you are making bar chart for the 500 or 600 activities, we have to there is a lack of degree of detail. You cannot define everything in detail. That is a limitation, na? Because for an example, the slab activity consists of 4 sub activities, such as preparation of the formwork, the preparation of the vertical scaffoldings or the supports, then there is placing of steel, then there is cleaning of the area, and then concrete and curing. So these are activities for the slab construction. But now if you put into the bar chart, you have to manage in only one activity, the slab construction. You cannot define the degree of details that slab construction includes this sub 4 activity or sub 4 operations. I hope you are getting my point. By lack of degree of detailing, so that is one of the major limitations of bar chart. So these are the 6 limitation. Because this 6 limitation, generally bar chart are not popularly used. Now, due to this limitation, we have developed there is a developed chart which is known as milestone chart. So there is our next topic is milestone chart. Let us see. So the milestone charts are the modification over the Gantt bar chart. In the Gantt bar chart, what you generally do is you represent the activity, whether it is small or long, by a horizontal bar without representing the key activities into it. So, but in the milestone chart, what happens that in the main activity bar, you can represent the key activities which are known as milestone, or key stages of the activity which are known as milestone. So by denoting this milestone in bar chart, you can have the effective control over the project. You can measure the project progress, and as well as you can define the relationship or among the one sub activity to another sub activity, or one event to another event, or the one activity of another activity of the project. So by having the milestone, so what exactly milestone does to you is, students, well, in milestone, the horizontal bar in that bar you can represent the key stages, or which we can say key milestones of that activity, and then you can have the relation between them. So let's just see an example of milestone chart and clear off all the confusions of the theoretical fundamental. Let us see an example. So as you can see over here, this is an example of milestone chart, that the activities which were there in a project, they in the bar, the representation of the bar has including the key activities by circle. So the circles in the bar are known as the milestone. Now you can have the interrelationship between those milestone. For an example, if the activity A is of preparation of foundation and activity B is of concreting work, so you can see that activity 1 has three sub activities or sub milestones, that is 1, 2 and 3. Now the 1 will be the site clearance, second will be the preparation of base, and the third will be of reinforcement, that is for foundation, preparation of base of foundation. Now the next is concreting of foundation. So the third activity, that reinforcement, is directly connected, interrelated with the concrete, that only after this can happen. So we can have the relation between 3 and 4, that the 3 is the milestone of the A activity and the 4 is the first milestone of the B activity. So this is how the milestone chart works. And by doing this, by providing this milestone, we can have the better control of the project, that okay, in activity A, only up to milestone 2 is completed, or up to milestone 5, in activity B up to milestone 5 is completed. So we can have the better control, better measurement of the project, and as well as we can define the relationship between the two activities or the two sub activities. So that are the major those were the lackings of this Gantt bar chart, are the major advantages of milestone chart. I hope we are clear up to this point. So this is it. That was all about in today's session. From next session, students, we are going to start on network analysis method. But before learning the network analysis method, we are going to learn that what is network, what are the components of network, what are the rules while you draw the network, how the networks can be drawn, how questions can be asked, and then we'll jump into the network analysis method. The first method we'll jump into is critical path method, CPM. So I request you that if you have not seen the previous session, kindly watch the previous session to have the better understanding of the fundamentals of construction management. And from next session, you don't miss anything in construction planning, because if once you skip anything from now here, you will have the loss of an entire method. So in case of any query or doubt for this session or for any previous session, you can always contact me on my mail or my number. Thank you.